Crazy Will here today, and today we're going to be talking about how to set up RetroPie. That's right, you like classic games? I'm going to show you how to set up a Raspberry Pi to play those old games like we used to. Hey, Crazy Will from Crazy Will's Tech Show. Today, we're going to be talking about RetroPie. I'm actually still on vacation, and I wasn't planning on shooting videos, but I figured I'm doing this project, which is making my own controller. Don't ask me why. I just like trying to build my own stuff. I don't know why. So I was building my own controller, and I came to the point where I needed to not touch the RetroPie that I originally built, but start a new one. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is RetroPie? Well, if you haven't been following along in my videos, RetroPie is actually, you take a regular Raspberry Pi. You could either take a 0 or a 1 or a 2 or a 3 is the best one, but I'm going to be doing it on a 0 today, a Raspberry Pi 0. It's actually built up of multiple systems, three major ones that I noticed. There's RetroPie, which houses everything. I'll show you the website, which takes advantage of RetroArch, which configures controls, makes save points, and organizes the emulators, and then the actual emulators themselves. So it's three major parts. You have the interface, which is kind of like a Netflix, and then you have RetroArch, which takes care of the controls, organizing the emulators, and then you have the emulators themselves. So it sounds complex, but it really isn't. And I'm making this video not only for you guys, but I have a lot of friends that would like that old retro gaming. You know, your old Nintendo, they want a lot of this stuff that they had when they were kids. You can go on the web and search where you can get the ROMs, because you do need to have some ROMs. I already showed you how to format a little SD card, but we're gonna go through it again with RetroPie so I can kind of go step by step with this. So I'm gonna see how far I get in this video, but I would like to show you how to format the card and then put it on the Raspberry Pi and get it working. So let's go over to the computer and start doing that. Alright, so here we are on my Mac. You can do this on a PC too, but I'm going to show you guys on a Mac because that's what I own. What we're going to do is we're going to go into Launchpad, and we're going to go into Others right here. Disk Utilities. I have a little 15 gig. I would go with 35 to probably higher if you want really high-end games to be put on this. They take up a lot of space, so I would recommend more than 15. I would do at least 32 gig. So what we're going to do, which I already did, is go to the web, and it is retropie.org.uk, and it is free, guys. We're going to go to download, and we're going to get the RetroPie that is for you. If you're running on a Raspberry Pi 0 or 1, which I'm going to set this up for a 1 because, like I said, I have a personal project going on. But if you have a 2 or 3, download this one right here. If you have a Raspberry Pi 0 or 1, you're going to download this one right here. So I'm going to let that download, and then I'll come back to you guys because it's going to take its time. Make sure you donate to this guy, guys. Donate to them. They're doing an amazing job. It's free. He's not charging anything for it. The download has been complete. Go to downloads, RetroPie for my RetroPie 0. For yours, it might be the 3. We're going to extract that, and I just have to double click. You may have to download an unzipper, and we're going to unzip this. Okay, so now it's done. This, we're going to take, this is the image. We're going to click and drag that to the desktop. I made a cheat sheet for you guys down below. I'm taking notes why I'm making this video, so that way you guys can follow along. What's in red is what you need to change. Your username, your desktop, your image. Those are the things that you need to change. Copy and paste this, so that way later on I'll have one for you to reference from. So just ignore this one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change my computer name, and it is William Gordon. Desktop and the file name. Okay, so we're going to go over to this file. This is the RetroPie file. We're going to grab this right here, copy the whole name. We're going to copy it, and we're going to go over to the file, and we're going to paste this right here. If you're not familiar with computer stuff, that is the location of where the file is. It's right on your desktop, and you're just giving it's the user, the computer name, the desktop, and then the file, and that's what that is. Now we have to figure out what the disk is. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here, and the first thing I want to do is erase this disk. We're going to keep it untitled because it is going to change it anyway, and there's no need for it. I set it to exFAT. We're going to erase the drive, and make sure you're on the one that's 15 gigs or whichever size you have, and it's going to reformat it. We're going to let it go through that. Boom, it's done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get info, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom here, and this is actually disk 3, and you want to make sure you know which one it is, because you could accidentally erase your own disk, or you could erase one of my backup systems over here. So I don't want to do that, so it's definitely disk 3, and double check, you could see here it's disk 3 S2. I don't know why it does that, but it does. So we're going to change this to disk 3. Now that we have all that done, we want to unmount the untitled disk, so that way we can use this command. So we'll just wait for this to unmount. So now it's unmounted. Go over to the spotlight window right up here, and we're going to type in terminal. And it comes up right away. Boom, we have terminal. And what we're going to do is this code that we set up, we're going to copy, and we're going to paste it right into terminal. And it's going to ask for a password. You need to know the password to your computer. Alright, and now you're not going to know anything's going on. If you got the password wrong, it will tell you. It doesn't give you a download countdown or anything like that. It's just going to stay like this for a little while. It's going to show you an in and out, and that'll say that the disk is formatted. So I'm going to stop the video for now, and then we'll come back to this. And like I said, it says records in, records out. Gives you all this information. Boom, we're done. That's it. That now it says boot, and it shows right there. And if you look into it, all your files are set up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to eject this out of the drive, and now we're going to switch over to the Raspberry Pi, because we are done using the computer as of now, and we're going to set up our RetroPie from this point on. Done. So we're going to take, it's a micro SD card. I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but it's a little micro SD card, and we're going to stick it in my Raspberry Pi Zero. We're on the side of my office, which is the work area, and this is a little Raspberry Pi Zero. And if you want to know more about the Raspberry Pi Zero, I'm going to put my video right here that tells you about Raspberry Pi Zero. So what I did from here is I hooked the Raspberry Pi up to my keyboard and mouse and a monitor. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that little mini SD card, and you're just going to plug it in. Alright, so if we installed everything correctly, we should see the interface for RetroPie. And like I said, we got the keyboard. There we go, RetroPie. Real simple. So if you see the splash screen, that means you did everything correctly. Now we just have to wait for it to boot up. And the first time it boots, it does take a little bit of time. Okay, so finally, we get up to the screen where it says press and hold any button to configure your controller. You have to configure a controller before you do anything. Now, I highly recommend that you set up the keyboard, but keep in mind what keys you assign for what, because it gets a little confusing. So basically what you want to do is set the keyboard up with stuff that you'll remember, because it's actually a controller interface. So it's not really designed for a keyboard, it's designed for a controller. So try to keep that in mind when you're setting up your keys. But what I would recommend is what I have used in the past is I've used Bluetooth controllers. They're okay. My favorite out of all the controllers that I'm messing with this with is probably my Xbox 360 controller. Yes, I still own an Xbox 360. So I would highly recommend that if you have an old Xbox controller laying around, whether it be USB. If it isn't, I will leave links down below for this dongle that I use on my home system. And I'm going to show you a picture of my home system right here. I did that one up and it's really neat. But I'm going to show you how I set it up. And like I said, I'll leave the link for the dongle down below. What the dongle does is it's just an Xbox controller, wireless controller, sender and receiver. So that way you're able to use it from across the room like I do. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow the commands, and I know this part of the video is probably going to be a little boring, but it's kind of important. Alright, I got you zoomed in on the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down on the space bar, and it noticed it's a keyboard. So like I said, now we have to assign keys. This is the part that is a little monotonous. You'll get used to it. When I first started, it was a pain in the butt, but I'm gonna do the arrow key up, arrow key down, arrow key left, arrow key right. Select, I'm gonna make H, you want to remember these, G for that one, A, I'm gonna make A, B, I'm gonna make B, X, I'm gonna make X, and Y, I'm gonna make Y. Shoulder keys doesn't really matter. I'll probably assign that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll do that one. 6, we'll do that one. Now we want to remember left, right, up, and down, L, and then M. And then these, I just assign whatever to it because it really doesn't matter. You're not really going to be using a lot of these basically. And then the hotkey, we want to make that control. So I'll remember that. And now we're going to hit OK. Oh, actually A. Sorry, guys. That's why you got to remember the keys. We're going to hit the A button. So now this is retropie. We're going to go into the configuration, which we're going to hit, I believe it's A. Yep, it's A if you assigned your keyboard A. And we're going to scroll down to Wi-Fi. And we'll hit enter. I'm sorry, we'll hit A. See, that's why you got to remember. It gets a little confusing, guys. That's the one A, the A button. If you had the controller, you'll understand once you hook a controller to it. But we're going to go into the Wi-Fi. It's going to set up. We're going to go through the process of setting up the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it's asking me, do I want to set it up? We arrow over, so you can arrow over, and we hit yes. And I think this time it's enter. Now we're back to regular keyboard, and we're going to go to network options, configure network settings, and I'm going to pick my Wi-Fi. So we're going to turn on Wi-Fi right here, enter it, and we're going to look for, it's asking to select a country. Okay, so we're going to select a country. A little quick tip for you guys. If you hit the U button, it goes to United States. We're going to hit enter, set up country, enter. Your SSID is your Wi-Fi router name. So whatever your Wi-Fi router name is, I'm going to enter mine in. So I'm going to stop the video. And then we are going to go to interface and options configuration. So we're going to go in here and we want to enable SSH just in case we need to do changes later on. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you that you can do it. So yes. So I enabled SSH on my Pi. So if you want to update or you want to change things, you can do that. Okay, so now we're gonna go down to, you go all the way to the bottom, and then you arrow down, and then you arrow to left, and then to right, and then hit enter for finish. All right, so now we want to hit enter to connect to network. And then you pick your network, and I'm going to pick my network. We put in the Wi-Fi password. It'll say connecting. It says it's connected, so let's go to exit. This is a setup of what menu options you have, and usually it's on a controller. You got select for screensaver, start for menu, X for random, A for select, and then your arrow keys to choose. So what I want to do is I want to get to the main menu because we want to reboot this so we could see it on our network. I think it needs to be rebooted before you can see it. So what we're going to do is, unfortunately I made it H. I don't know how, but I hit H in my case. Hopefully you guys only have to hit S if you did it correctly. Scroll down to quit and hit A button, and then we're going to restart emulation station. But since we're in this menu, I'm going to show you guys really quick. You can restart emulation center, quit emulation station if you want to get to the command line. You can restart the system, which that's what we're going to do, or you could shut down the system. And before you unplug it, make sure you see that there's no signal going to the monitor. But we're going to restart the system, and we're going to hit A. Do you really want to? Yes. So while that's going to restart, I'm going to go see if it shows up on my network, and then we'll switch over to my other computer. Okay, so here we are on my desktop. What we're going to do here is we're going to click on the network, and we should see retropie right here, and it makes a Windows kind of group for it. But we're going to click on retropie, and if you open up this, automatically networks once you have your retropie on your Wi-Fi. Automatically shows up. Whether you're on Mac or PC, you'll see it. Okay, so I just want to go through these real quick. Splash screens, just for artwork in the beginning of retropie. ROMs, that's what we're really going to be looking at. Configuration files, if you ever get a configuration file, that's where it will go for controllers or anything like that. BIOS. If you're going to get into systems like Dreamcast or PlayStation, you have to find the BIOS, and that's where you put them. This is really where you're going to be spending most of your time when you're setting up. So let's click into ROMs. Click in there, you'll see a bunch of folders. All of these are the systems that are supported by retropie, aka emulation station, however it goes. So I have a file of games that I set up, and I put them in accordance so I can show you guys. So first thing, let's just click and drag my games over. It was called Mega Drive in every country, and if you're from that country, you're going to be laughing at me. But over in America, it was called Sega Genesis. Over in other countries, everywhere else in the world, I don't know why, It was Mega Drive. So we're going to open up the Mega Drive folder. We're going to open up this Mega Drive folder, and I'm going to click and drag these over into the Mega Drive folder, and those are going to copy over to it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the other folders, Nintendo. So we're going to click on that. We're going to click and drag these folders over, and these are game files that I found on the web. You do a search and you find them. We're transferring them over. And now a Super NES, so Super Nintendo. So let's find that. And we're going to click and drag these over. And once they're done, we're going to restart Emulation Station. Okay, so all that's transferred. We're going to pop back over to our system. So now that we're back at the Pi, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and hit H, because I don't know why I made it H. And we're going to go to Quit, A, and then A again for Restart Emulation Station, and then hit A again. Now, the reason why we're doing this is we're rebooting it. Now that we transferred ROMs over to the Pi, they show up when it restarts. And so now if you hit your arrow buttons, you have Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you have your systems. And if you click in Nintendo and we hit A, and you scroll down to Super Mario Brothers, A, which everybody had. There you go. Now you can play Super Mario Brothers. Alright, so let's say you're done for the day. You want to get out of this emulation. You want to finish. Well, you hit your hotkey, if you remember what you assigned your hotkey to, and select, which in my case is H. And if you hit the hotkey, which in my case I think it's Control. I made mine Control. So I hit Control H and I was able to get out of it. Okay, to make our life easier, a lot easier, I got my Xbox wired controller. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hook this up, and it's really easy to set up a controller. Just connect the USB end in. We're going to hit the select button to get to the main menu. We're going to scroll down to configure inputs. And we're going to hit A, alright, and then when this comes up, hold down the controller button and it shows up Xbox 360. So now let's configure the controller. It's asking me what you want the up pad to be. I'm going to change the D-pad to the rotation one because I want it to be able to move in games using this instead of the D-pad. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to do them up, down, left, right, star to start, select to select, A, B, X, Y, left shoulder, left trigger, right trigger, thumb. This is the thumb one now. We're going to do the thumb. We're going to do that one. Left thumb, right thumb, and then we're going to do the left analog. We're going to do the up, down, left, right, and then the analog, up, down, left, right. And then my hotkey, what I like to do is push down on this for my hotkey. And that is my hotkey. And then hit A for OK. And now your controller should be working, which makes navigating in this so much easier. Look, you can go right to left and pick your games. So now if you pick, let's go to Mario. Let's say you pick Mario Brothers. Boom, you hit A. So much easier, guys. You wait for it to start. Alright, now you can, oh, this one actually it does the select. You gotta select which one. We'll hit one player, and look, you can use this to move around, jump, and now you're playing a real game. And now if you want to get out of this, and the way I had it set up, if I want to get out of this, I hit select and this button, the thumb button, at the same time. Boom! I'm out of the game, guys. Out of the game. And then B for back so I can go look at my other emulations. And it's a lot easier with an Xbox controller, so I would highly, highly, highly recommend you get one of these if you don't already have one. And like I said, the dongle, I'm going to leave a link down below. That way you can use your wireless Xbox controllers even better. That's it. Now I'm able to do my project, and I'm working on my own little controller because I want to make my own little Game Boy type of travel version of this. I'm always telling you guys you could do anything you put your mind to. I know nothing, and when I tell you nothing about circuit boards, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, and I am teaching myself. And you can see I'm teaching myself how to solder and how to do this. I knew how to do all the basics. You really truly can do anything you put your mind to, and I hope I am one of those people that practice what they preach. I'm always trying to learn and do new things, and I hope this proves it to you as my dog is snoring in the background. Sorry guys. She comes first. She's my baby. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm not asking anything from you guys. Just like and subscribe if this helped you out. And remember, you can do anything, and I mean anything, if you put your mind to it. Later, guys! Got it working. You thought I was a picture, didn't you? Make sure you like and subscribe. Do me a favor already.